All right, I got a lot to say. I'll just say this: Neil Magny wins by split decision. If you want to see the video for that, there you go. So he wins by split decision. Now, what I want to say is this: I didn't see the majority of the fight because I was talking to people on Twitter. I was posting stuff on Twitter. You can see one thing that I posted right here. Yeah, big props to John Anik and Brian Stan for the commentary. Great job. As you know, the drug addict Joe Hogan over-exaggerates everything. And, of course, Mike G. You listening to this, you can do a better job than Mike Goldberg. Anybody listening to this, anybody with no experience can do a better job than Mike Goldberg. Everybody in the world knows it. Now, what I want to say is this. So, how the F does Kelvin Gastelum, right? How does he come out first if he is a Mexican fighting in Mexico and a favorite in the fight? He comes out first. But I want to give a shout out to MMA Fighting. They told me it's because of the rankings. I was like, oh, okay. So, in the welterweight division, he's ranked lower than Neil Magny. Now, I'm like, oh, okay. I did some research. Now, let me say this. Neil Magny is number 13, and Kelvin is number 15. This is the UFC rankings, by the way. Okay? So, why is it that Neil is, 13 and Kelvin is 15 in the welterweight division, when Neil Magny, his most notable win is against Eric Silva? All right? Okay. Kelvin Gastelum's noticeable wins are against Nate Marquardt and Jake Ellenberger and Rick Story. Granted, they were at a different weight than this one, but those wins are definitely better than Neil Magny's, right? The other thing is, and Uriah Hall, he also beat Uriah Hall. So I found that kind of weird. Neil Magny, he lost to, who did he lose to? Oh, let me say this. The fucking, after the fight was over, the UFC was, they put out a graphic. He is 10-1 in his last fights. 10 wins, 1 loss. That's pretty good. Who has he beat? I'm not even kidding when I say this. He's beaten Ghassan Umalotov, Tim Means, Rodrigo Lima, Alex Garcia, William Macario. The list goes on. If you've never heard of these people, it's because that's exactly right. They're fucking no-names. So it's kind of, what I'm getting to that is that their fucking rankings are fucking wonky. What? It's like the only person, noticeable person who he has beat is Eric Silva. And then you got Kelvin, whose last fight was against Nate Marquardt, and he TKO'd him, baby. But that was at middleweight, so I don't know, that's kind of fucking weird. And in regards to the fight, I didn't really see the majority of it because I was talking to people on Twitter. I was, whenever I post something stupid about Joe Hogan, Joe's a fucking dumbass. I was just talking to people. Oh, and I wouldn't say this. Neil Magny, he is ahead of Jake Ellenberger in the rankings, right? But Kelvin Gastelum beat Jake Ellenberger, and it's a complete mess. It's just a mess. What I'm getting to that is the UFC makes their own rankings. Whatever they chose, whatever, fine. Who cares? And I do want to say this. Mike Goldberg is the absolute worst commentator on the face of the planet. Every single time he has something to say, it's either written down or fucking obvious. By the way, I gave him the nickname Captain Obvious. Most of the time I tune him out. But this last event, he was just too much. 30 seconds left. It is all over. 10 seconds. Final round. Oh, he's going to have to... if he wants to win, he's going to have to go for it. It's fucking obvious shit. We know what the fuck time it is. We can see the time. And I do want to say this, and everybody knows this. Whenever he says something that's not obvious or written down, it is something so dumb and stupid Don't believe me, there's fucking YouTube videos of all the stupid shit that he says. Speaking of stupid shit, Joe Hogan is absolutely number one. He has a shitload of fucking fans because of his podcast. He has famous people on his podcast, but every fucking podcast, it's just little kid childish ass humor. And the last thing I want to say is Henry Cejudo. He was fighting in this card. The UFC should market the fuck out of this guy. But, as we all know, they are busy marketing the models. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see everybody later.